Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back. It's been a wonderful, beautiful Tishrei, and we've learned some fantastic sichos. Unfortunately, we'll have to come back to podcast those, but today we are learning, bringing, and discussing Likutei Sichos Chelek Chaf Hey, and we are talking about the Sicha of Lech Lecha Aleph, the first Sicha in Lech Lecha. And I'm joined again by my dear friends, Rabbi Moshe Grari in Toms River, New Jersey, and Rabbi Yisrael Wilhelm in Boulder, Colorado. And this Sicha, we're talking about Avraham and Hashem's promise to make him great. And sort of just to set the stage, there's Hashem promises him that I will make you great. In Hebrew, the terminology we brought down in the Sicha is gadlus, greatness in large capacity, big, achieving, so many different ways, and the word is so vast. In a strange way, it's something that everybody's looking for. Where do you find your godless? What is your godless? What does it mean? What does it mean to have that aspirations, and how do you achieve it? So obviously this is backed by an entire story and narrative and questions and answers and so on. So let's start from the beginning, a little background on the Parsha and the Ramban. I'm going to turn it over to Moshe to get us started here.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we started the Torah, the Chumash all over again. And the Parshas Lech Lecha begins. Hashem tells Avram, Lech Lecha me'artzecha, leave your land, your birthplace. So the Rebbe's question is that if someone never opened up any mefarshim, any commentaries, they have no idea who Avram is. The only thing they know about him is that he's the son of Terach, and that he had two brothers, Nachor and Haran. But we have no information on him, no resume, no history, nothing. And the Eibishter tells him, Lech Lecha me'artzecha, gives him this mission. Now, the Rebbe's question actually follows the question of the Ramban. Why is he getting such a big reward? I mean, you can say, if you're moving from point A to point B, it's not fun to move, it's not easy to move, but why such a big reward? Gadlus, Shmuley mentioned, Gadlus, etc. The Ramban answers the question in his way. The Rebbe says, even with the Ramban's question, it still doesn't answer why does the Torah not tell us who Avram is, as the Torah did with regards to Noach, for example. And the nucleus of the Rebbe's answer is that everything that happened in Avram's life up until this point doesn't matter, at least for the point that we're about to make here, and that is the beginning of a new chapter, the beginning of the Jewish nation. When Hashem says to Avram, Lech Lecha, what's happening in this moment is Avram is becoming the first Jew, not just the first monotheistic believer, not just the first person to be a Kira professional, the first Jew. And the way it works is, what is a Jew? A Jew is someone that is chosen by Hashem, is given a mitzvah, and fulfills that mitzvah. So when Vayomer Hashem al Avram, Hashem chooses Avram not because of his past accomplishments or because he was a great righteous person. Hashem chose Avram because Hashem chose Avram. So the first point is, Vayomer Hashem al Avram, Hashem spoke, and that's how it happened. And it gives Avram a mitzvah, a commandment, and that mitzvah is the connection between Avram and Hashem. And subsequently, in Avram's descendants, the Jewish people, Hashem gave us a mitzvah or mitzvahs, and those mitzvahs are the connections. So the connection that a Yid has with Hashem is because Hashem chose them and gave them a commandment and gave them the opportunity to connect. And that's why the Torah doesn't have to tell us what happened before, because that would not only is it not necessary, it would actually detract, would make us think Avram was special because he discovered Hashem at the age of 3. And the obviously we still have to get to the Vagad Lashmecha, but let's pause here for a second and let's just understand this point, that with this Sicha and with this observation that the parsha begins without any information about Avram's past, is the Torah is revealing to us what is a Jew and what is a mitzvah.
Actually learned this Sicha last night with a few students, And I asked them where in the parsha does it speak about the story of Abraham and the fire, and they were trying to remember. It's one of these stories that has become so part of our understanding of Torah that we sometimes forget to just go back to the basics of, and that's what the question is, why it's such a brilliant question and such a powerful question, and why this Sicha is such a foundational Sicha for the Rebbe, because it was this exact Vayom Hashem al Avram, this exact idea that we don't know anything about Avram, and being a Jew is the opportunity to connect with Hashem through a mitzvah, right, which has basically set the stage for the Rebbe's entire vision of what we three get to do on Shlichus, and what thousands of Chabad boys have grown up to do, Mitzvahim, all the time, and
boys and girls.
yes, true, do Mitzvahim, because this is very much, this is it. If you want to know which Sicha to open up when anybody ever challenges you about why Mitzvahim is, go to Chelek Kafhei, Lech Lecha, Sicha Aleph, open it up, learn it. Don't just hear it through somebody else, and hear the Rebbe speaking and giving a very clear world vision of how he sees us connecting, how he sees a Jew connecting to Hashem. And it reminds me a lot of, and I'll pass it on to Shmuley, it reminds me a lot of the other very famous Sicha that many of us have heard hundreds of times. But again, I would say if you don't do a project with the Sichas, you might not actually open the Sicha and learn it. The difference between Yishmael and Yitzchak, that Yishmael wanted to be, said that I'm great because I chose to have a bris, which means, and that seems great. When people choose something, that's glorified, and it should be, because from a logical place, when Avram chose to jump into the fire because he found God, that should be that should be the pinnacle of the story, really, because and Yishmael is right, and the Rebbe says, so then what's Yitzchak's greatness? He says, I'm great because I had a bris when I was 8 years old. Where's the logic in that? And that's exactly the point, what we need to farang about, which is there is no logic in that. And that's exactly the connection. That's exactly why even from a technical perspective, how the Jews still exist thousands of years later, it's not logical. It's all not logical. Our connection to Hashem is, on a core level, is we get to do a mitzvah. Yeshmali.
So first of all, just to unpack a couple things here. There's so many things are flying from various different sides. So let's slow it down a little bit. First of all, Moshe, you mentioned that the on the side, but I want to quote you because I think it's just a moment to just reflect. We're saying here, and you're quoting basically from the context of the Sicha, that his life before didn't matter. And I'm not quoting to attack you. I'm actually I'm digesting those words for a minute. How would you feel if somebody approached your life today and the entire yesterday or the last X amount of years of your life, they would say to you, or they would conduct themselves with you as if that doesn't exist? You are who you are today. I mean, I don't think we know how to operate on that level. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've done? Do you know what I've
Can I
achieved?
answer your question?
Oh, yeah,
I
sure,
want,
sure.
I want to answer your question with an observation,
Yeah.
because first I'll give you the observation. So in our shul, we have a very diverse crowd on Shabbos, some of whom are what would be classified as very, very frum, and some are people that would be classified as not yet Shemrei Shabbos. And one of the very, very frum had a very difficult time with the fact that some people were coming to shul, and in his estimation, there was no way they walked all the way from their home. And he was saying, like, maybe say something and so on. Like, and I said to him, and this is obviously in a very warm, passionate conversation. And I said, the difference between me and you is that when a person walks through the door, the first question that goes through your head is, how did he get here? And the first question that goes through my head, or the first thought that goes through my head is, wow, another Yid walked through the door. So when I was saying that the past doesn't matter, I'm saying that when we look at a Yid, we have to look at the Yid. Of course, every mitzvah counts, and a person that's a Chassidish Yid, or for that matter, a person that never learned Aleph Beis, but has a neshama, or has accomplished whatever they've accomplished. I'm not saying that I said it doesn't matter.
No, no, no,
But
100%. I'm emphasizing it for a
I know,
reason.
I know, but I just wanted to open that
Of
up a little
course.
bit. That of course there's an entire chitzonius to us,
Of course,
and
of course.
the whole, and I'm going to let you talk in 1 second. And the whole discussion here is that beyond everything that we've accomplished, there is something about the yid that is on a totally different, not even totally different level, totally different existence.
Right. So
Now, I'd like to unpack that.
so just unpacking it a little bit here is that it's natural to feel and to approach life, circumstances, friends by reaching into our reservoir, our experiences, our portfolio, our profile, our status, our connections. I know this and this guy. I'm connected to this person. I take a picture and post it with so and so. You know what I am and who I am and what I'm doing and my accomplishments. And all this is a reference to all the time past and what we've done. This is what we're building our reputation on. This is what we're building our greatness on. This is what we're achieving. And what's interesting here, and those are all good things. Those are all wonderful things. They're great things. And like you said, they need to be done. You can't really negate them because this is life and this is the life David gave us. And you have those opportunities to present themselves to you, then use out the networks and the connections that you have. But if you look around the world, it's all about the who's who and who knows what and what are you showing and what are you showing for it and on and on and on, each in their own way, in their own area, and really in every industry. There is no industry that is devoid of playing the who's who game and the what's what and showing those achievements as a resume, if you will, as a resume builder for whatever we're building it for. Um, and what the Rebbe is starting to delve into here, and I'm just going to break down the second piece because that's how I see the segue of this. The Rebbe says, "Okay, hold on, take a step back. What are you trying to do? What are you looking for? Okay, so what are you looking for is a connection to Hashem. So what are you going to do that's going to help you find it exactly? What are you going to do? What do you have within yourself to bring to the table? What are you going to do?" And the Rebbe spends time to explain, like Yisrael said, a mitzvah. What's a mitzvah? A mitzvah it's not about the way you feel and how good you did it and how much you salivated in a detail and all the things and things. And again, you should do all that. But a mitzvah at the end of the day is one thing. It's really just a simple, simple, simple thing. Hashem said, Moshe, Yisrael, Shmuley, could you do this for me, please? If and like the Sicha brings down, right, that even if it was instead of tefillin or something else, if it was to hammer wood or to whatever, it doesn't make a difference what it was. It doesn't make a difference. Do we understand it anyway? So let's take a step back. What are we doing over here? This is the essence of a mitzvah. This is what a mitzvah is. A mitzvah is creating an opportunity for us to connect to something really great. And this is the beginning of Vayomer Hashem el Avram. This is where the mitzvah began. This is where his identity began in relation to his true relationship with Hashem. Nothing to do with him. Because Hashem said, hey sir, could I need your help. I want you to get involved in this. I want you to do this for me.
It's I'm blessed. Just talk about my life, a part of as being a campus shliach. So on Sukkot, I just get to stand by a sukkah, for 6 out of the 7 days on campus and just be a bacher, and just get thousands of people to shake the lulav and esrog, which is just beautiful. And I would say maybe like a bunch of years ago, I had a guy who came with me, who had come from grew up religious, and he was going through his journey right now. And he was inspired. And he said to me, Rabbi, I have a piece of advice for you. Why don't you, when you just ask them in Jewish and bring them in doing the mitzvah, why don't you also give them like a little bit of a meditation, give them some feeling, some kind of, connection to what it is. And there's nothing wrong. He's right. When you have that opportunity, when it's quiet And there aren't a lot of people. Of course, that's what we should try and do. But this Sicha very clearly defines Mitzvahim, which you have to talk about Mitzvahim if you're learning the Sicha, and about what a mitzvah is. It's, yes, there has to be a meditation, and yes, you want the person to feel good about it, but ultimately, like you said, the true godless, the ultimate greatness this person will accomplish is by just doing the mitzvah. Just literally by just, taking the bracha and doing the mitzvah, the opportunity you give them. That is the ultimate godliness. Everything else is a great bonus. It's a bonus. It's great brownie points. And it might, but what's going to actually give them the connection to Hashem, which is way more powerful than anything else, is the fact that you gave them the opportunity to do the mitzvah. Everything else is just either will, and how many stories do we each experience this? But this is also for ourselves in our own life. When we're feeling down, we're feeling disconnected, feeling uninterested, and whatever that moment is, and we're just not sure, it's just V'yom Hashem al Avram, just get it done. In the Rebbe's language, tzuton, do, just get it done. We'll get into the whole discussion. This is not, and maybe Moshe, maybe you want to talk about it, but it's not Nasiv and Nishma. It's not just Nasiv and Nishma. It's deeper than Nasiv and Nishma. Nasiv and Nishma is simple, and the Torah says first do, right? It's not just that, and then later there'll be a Nishma, right? This is the structure of a mitzvah. Structure of Yiddishkeit is tzuton. This the connection.
So I just want to. By the way, it's important that you mentioned godless, and we have to get back to it because that was the first question that Shmuley introduced.
Right.
And I don't want to just swallow it into. We do have to get back to that, but I want to echo what Shmuley was saying before. In other words, the way we are taught Yiddishkeit, certainly in the general frum world. The way we're taught Yiddishkeit is that there's a ladder to climb. And the more you learn, and the more you daven, and the more you know, and the more you feel, and the more you experience, have a geschmack in a mitzvah, and understand why you're doing it, and kavanas ha-mitzvah. This is how Yiddishkeit is structured. This is how we're taught. Mitzvahs b'lei kavana, guf b'lei neshama, that if a person doesn't have the proper intent, the proper thoughts, then it's like a body without a soul. And this Sicha, which obviously doesn't contradict any of that, is saying that all of that is already the expression of the person. It's their past, it's their future. How much I understand and how much I experience, how much I enjoy is already an expression of me. It's already moved one drop away from the core essence of the connection of the mitzvah, which is the core essence of Yiddishkeit. So to say that like you're saying, is this Nasiv and Nishma? No, there has to be Nas and then has to be Nishma. But and we have to learn and we have to understand and we have to feel and we have to experience. It's all true. But as soon as it becomes about the geschmack, and as soon as it becomes about the understanding or the wanting,
or the ladder, you're trying to
or the ladder,
the gadol,
then now it's about me. It's not anymore about the connection. It's not anymore about the Eibishter. It's about me, which is why I don't think we have even close to enough time to podcast or to fabreng about this, which is why Judaism today looks the way it looks, which is why so many people are struggling with it, and so many people who are doing it seemingly so well have gone off to either all the way right or all the way left, because the whole Yiddishkeit became about me. How frum am I? How chassidish am I? How are people going to look
at myself? How much have I grown? How much personal growth there is?
Correct. And which is all necessary and important, but only on the foundation of where of the etzem of it, of the core of it, which is the mitzvah as a connection between the Yid and the Eibishter, with the etzem of the Yid without the trappings, and the etzem of the Eibishter without the manifestations. So I'm just echoing what you said, Shmuley. I'm just explaining what it means. What it means that we're conditioned to see it in a certain way, because that's how life is. Life is who do I know and who am I connected to and what can I accomplish and what status do I have in society? And the same thing seeped into Yiddishkeit, into religion, that it's a who's who. And while not to take away from the importance of learning and enjoying having
And
a
growing.
smack in being a yid and growing, using that to grow with it, we have to remember that as long as if we're missing the foundation, that we're basically worshiping ourselves or worshiping the community that we're in, versus versus serving the Eibishter and connecting to the Eibishter, which is what the Eibishter really truly wants from us.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's easier said than done, obviously, because going back to the original statement, what you need to do here is you need to do away with um, everything in life that just happened and basically be able to have clarity that it doesn't really matter. Now, at the same time, of course, it does matter because the details matter, but at the same time, it's like a focus on truth while we go through our day-to-day business of doing what we need to do and climbing the ladder, to not lose focus, to think that stuff actually matters, um, and to define ourselves by it. But let's go, I guess, a little further
Yeah.
in the Sicha. So okay, so very good. The beginning of Avram's life doesn't matter. What matters is his identity now. Obviously, there's a backstory, but the backstory is not the essence, and that's what we're talking about, the essence. And this is why this is so unique. When Hashem's giving him a mitzvah and telling him what to do. And this is and this and then coming back, circling back to the question, there's this tremendous reward, an unbelievable reward. I'm going to make you such a massive nation. I'm going to make you some people, whatever. With the whole thing, and all the blessings, all the brachas that come from it, from doing nothing, from doing nothing. So what's happening here? Why is Avram? What's the answer to the Ramban? Why is Avram getting this ridiculous bracha, which makes no sense? It's not relative in any way to anything he did, as we just established, because he did nothing. It doesn't matter what he did. So what's actually what's happening here? And what's actually happening here, in the language of the Sicha, the Rebbe says this is foundational. This is 101 Judaism. What's happening here is, if you want to go on your own journey and tap into big things, go. Go. Do it. How big is the biggest person you're going to tap into, the biggest club you're going to be part of, the biggest group, the best association, the best in whatever your field is? Where are you going to go? Who do you know? Tell me. What's their name? Wow, that's a big person. Oh, those people, they're wealthy, they're famous, they're influential, they're
What do you
I,
mean, Shmuley? I say all day, I know you. What do you mean?
Well, there you go. So that proved to my point. The point is, really, really, what Hashem is saying is, Avram, you know who you know? Me. You know the Eibishter. And the Eibishter, Hashem, is the only bleak vul, the only real truth, the only real godless. You want to talk godless? You want real godless? Then connect to the right place. Get real godless. Don't go for the baby stuff.
Godless meaning greatness.
Godless meaning greatness, like real great. Real greatness has no limits. It's not just greatness in Toronto. It's great everywhere. It's great. It's the truth. It's the essence. So you're gonna go for I know this guy, I know that guy, I do this, I do that, I drive this car, I go to this golf club, I go to what? What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? It's nothing. And Hashem is teaching us that the Rebbe is explaining that Hashem is telling Avram there's a fundamental transaction, there's a fundamental relationship structure that we have an opportunity to tap into to do the things. Of course, everything is important, and the story and our life is a shkacha pratis in every single detail. But if you want godless, if you want to talk about connecting to a place where yesterday doesn't matter, where you can live peacefully today on the highest level, where life is so much greater and deeper than anything you could ever imagine, and whatever your imagination takes you, it's nothing. And my imagination could take me a certain distance, but how far? How far could it take you? There's the Eibishter. And we have opportunity to do a mitzvah. And a mitzvah is like, you know who I know? You know what I did today? I had a little conversation with God today. Oh, who did you meet? Who did you go golfing with today? Like, put it in perspective. Put it in perspective. And at that core level, that is a foundation for everything that follows. That's godless.
Beautiful. I don't have much to add. I'll just end off by saying I think this is a little bit of the beauty of the Pashto Yid, the simple Jew who is not the gadol that everybody looks up to, or in Moshe's world, the guy who sits in the back of the shul, who nobody knows, he does never spoke, never give a Torah, never, whatever, just the guy, the guy who shows up, and has his connection, or in our world. Just the student who came to Minyan this morning, and rolled out of bed and put on tefillin and doesn't understand a word of Hebrew, but if we're talking about what a real gadol is, what godless is, they're just in your words. Wow, they had a conversation with Abishur, they had a connection, they did the mitzvah, they were there, and sometimes you see the greatest if you're ready to see it in that lens and put in that pair of glasses. You actually see the greatest godless, the greatest, the holiness, and in every way, blessing in everything, but specifically by the Pashto Yid, the Jew, who just does it because that's what needs to be done, and not specifically in the guy on the top of the ladder. I mean, again, there's so much to share, but I think it's simple when if you're ready to look at it that way, it's overwhelming. We've seen it recently with all the hostages coming out, and they're just the emunah and the faith. It's just these are people who on a scale of a ladder, they're just if there is a ladder, there wouldn't be anyone on the top, but their inspiration, their connection to God is like none other. It's I want to be with them. Anyway, thank you, L'chaim.
Moshe,
I'll
final
end.
final thoughts.
Yeah, I'll end, and I just want to give a little bit more what I think a little bit of practicality to this concept of godless or lack of godless. There's a statement in the Gemara that nobody dies having accomplished more than 50% of their goals, because the nature of people is once they reach once they reach that goal, they now want to go twice as far. So you never reach more than 50% of your goals. If you made all the money in the world, by the time you get there, you want to have much more than that, which means to say that our definition of greatness is so finite and it's so limited. Even if it might be so much greater than someone else, it's still, in comparison to truth, it's limited and finite. And therefore, you can never say, I became great, or he became great, they became great, because they're greater than something, but they're not true greatness. The only place you find greatness is with emes, and emes is with the Eibishter and with Yiddishkeit. And therefore, the chiddush of the Sicha, or to sort of put it into a nucleus, into a nutshell, as using the expression I used before, the past doesn't matter. The past, which is everything that you've accomplished on your own, it matters greatly, but it will never bring you to the godless nacha. It will never bring you to true godless, because everything that you've accomplished on your own two feet, on your own efforts, on your own initiative, that I want to be great, I want to do this, I need to do this, all that is amazing, and it might get you a lot of attention, but it will not bring you to the godless nacha. And so, in other words, the ultimate greatness comes from the ultimate pshitas. Who are you? Not my accomplishments and not my resume. Who are you? I am a Yid who's doing the Ratzon Hashem. That's the greatest greatness, or the only true greatness, and the only way you get there is from a place of utter and utmost simplicity and bittul.
Just to wrap it up on a personal level, because it's easy to tell, we're talking a lot to others. I just want to bring it home to myself, just with a final reference of the Sicha. The Rebbe says Lech Lecha mi'artzecha, right? Hashem tells Avram, and the Rebbe says in Yiddish, Geh avek, go away, go away. So on a personal level, what's the takeaway here for me is to talk to myself and tell myself, go away from all your accomplishments. Go away from everything that you think is who you are. Go away from your things you're accustomed to. Go away from the emotions that resonate with you. Go away from everything that is you and connect into something deeper. So this is for us all to reflect on and to be proud of everything we've done up until now. But Gayavek, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you soon.